I want to talk about a little bit more of the premise of the show itself and talk to me about the pitch process as to when CBS said, yeah, we're definitely going to pick this show up.
Well, the TV show is based on a book called Murder Games by James Patterson and Howard Ruffin. And in the book, did you just do that?
No.
Yes, you did. That was amazing. Highly decorated Alan Cumming. Yes, making my microphone work. In the book, he's also an ex-CIA agent and a professor and a writer. And so the premise is very similar to the book, and he's gay in the book and he's married to a man. Obviously, when you're pitching something for TV, you need to change things and think about it long term. So that was really where, and James Patterson was incredibly kind to say, take what you want from the book and whatever you don't want, leave it. Which was very liberating as a writer when I think 1 out of every 17 books sold in the world is written by James Patterson. Literally, 1 out of every 17.
That's better than Jesus.
Yes, it is. So when he says that, it was just a big sigh of relief. I felt like the pressure was off. But we went into, Alan and I went in with Secret Hideout, which is Alex Kurtzman's company, and Patterson's company. And we went and pitched to CBS. And at the time, the president was Glenn Geller. And about 3 minutes into the pitch, it was very clear that they wanted to do it.
3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you walk into a room with Alan Cumming, it definitely helps. Because
Right.
you know, people want to be in business with him.
Well-decorated room. It was a well-decorated room.
It was a beautifully decorated room. Yeah, Glenn's got great taste. So they had a couple of small notes, but it was the type of project that felt like it was time both for CBS to be able to diversify their cast. It was time to have a broadcast hour long with a gay lead. And I think they just also really got into the creative ideas that we all had.
And to expand upon that a little bit, Alan, I want to go to you, that this is, and I'm going to just say it outright, the first 1 hour network drama led by a gay character. Talk to me about the significance of that and how you feel having the opportunity to embrace and take on that role.
Well, I think it's hugely significant. For me, it feels like a really amazing thing, but also a really terrible thing that it has taken this long for there to be a gay character that is, you think of the amount of output that American networks have produced, and this is the first time in 2018. So it's sort of a bittersweet thing for me, actually. But I'm very, very excited that I'm playing that character, the first one, and also I think that it's a character whose gayness is like the 4th or 5th most interesting thing or notable thing about him, and that I really love the way that his sexuality and his relationship is, and also, it's not the focus, because mostly, especially on network shows, I think, if there is an LGBT character, their sexuality is very, very much the focus of the storyline. And I think we've got to get to a stage where that is not the case anymore, and we are just represented more and better. So I think on both counts, this show does a really good job of doing that. And in terms of, I've been doing lots and lots and lots of interviews about this over the last couple of days, and people are saying, what do you expect? What do you think the audiences how do you think they'll receive Dylan and his husband and things like that? And I sort of think, actually, the show tested, and obviously they do lots and lots of tests, and the gay thing is not the most favourite part of the show for people. They're sort of, I remember a great comment I really liked was like, well, we don't mind Alan's gay. And I was like, thank you very much, I don't mind it, you're stupid. But what I think is that, I think that we live in a time where people's fears are very much being exploited, and I think any fear people have, that becomes a prejudice, is eroded when you just present people, when they get more familiar, more comfortable with whatever it is they're afraid of or they don't know. So I think a network like this, reaching the audience that it reaches, is actually going to do a really great service in just making people more comfortable with an idea that previously they had no access to.
Sarah Kate, GLAAD is a media advocacy organization. So from your perspective, tell me why you think it's taken so long for, as Alan, you said, 2018 to be the first time that this has happened, and what impact you hope it will have on society?
Well, I think the really important thing here to focus on is that CBS is doing this, and as Alan said, it's about audience, and CBS reaches what we call, if anybody knows Nielsen here, C and D counties. So A and B tend to be more of the metropolises of the world, the New Yorks and the LAs, and the C and Ds tend to be more of rural America.
And old people.
And what?
And old people.
I don't know about that demographic breakdown.
I love old people. I'm not saying anything derogatory. I'm just thinking that's perhaps some of our audience.
Maybe, but people whose hearts and minds might not have been moved yet. And so I think that this is such a significant piece of work because it is, as Alan was saying, going to introduce them to somebody who happens to be gay but is also a detective and is a lead character and has so many things going on in their lives. And that's a piece of them, a very important part of them, but also going to, unbeknownst to them, probably change their heart and mind around LGBTQ people, at least open their eyes to LGBTQ people. So I think that's really important. Why it's taken so long, I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do think that we've seen slow progress along the way. Networks actually do a great job of integrating LGBTQ people into content. One of the challenges is lead characters. The other is diversity within the LGBTQ community. And I think streaming networks have really put the pressure on old school broadcast networks in that they can churn content much faster without the same restrictions that a broadcast can do. And so I think that we're seeing broadcast step up even more, and they have the audience, the broadcast does. So it's really, really exciting time. And I mean, who else would you want to be the first? Right. But Alan.
Well,
if I had a nickel. Sorry.
Alan, tell me about your first instinct when you saw the script. Oh,
see what you did there.
You're rubbing off on me a little bit, right? About when you saw the script and when you got offered the opportunity to play the part. So, what was your feeling about that?
Well, the first thing before I got the script, I got a book. I got a sort of early galley copy of the book, and I was in Edinburgh working. I remember it was sort of it's kind of unusual to get a book to read. You normally get it in a script form, but I was. Because initially, and what was sort of clever about the book in terms of Dylan and his husband, that the husband in the book is called Tracy, so you just assume it's a woman, and there's this kind of literary reveal, which you couldn't do in the show because, well, not quite so much, because of seeing the person. So I was kind of I remember thinking, what is this? What is this sort of mystery thing? What's going on? And what? He's gay? What? And then I found myself really being kind of really into the characters and also just the way the plot went. There's some really amazing moments actually, that the stuff with his dad I still think about such a lot. There's a really amazing scene when he goes hunting with his father. But I really liked the character. I was really intrigued by it. I remember saying, who is this person that wrote this? And my manager said, the person who writes one in every 17 books that are sold in the world. I was like, oh. And actually what's rather embarrassing is I'd actually met James Patterson, had a lovely chat with him. I didn't realise it was him.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, so that was funny. But then what happened, really what clinched it, was when I came back to America and I had a meeting with Michael to discuss, us both being attached to it. Mm-hmm. And I just really liked his take on it and his ideas, and I just felt in safe hands and a sort of someone I felt on the simpatico with, both in real life and also just in what we wanted to do, because we're making a fun mystery cop show, but also it's got this great opportunity to do a lot more, we're talking about in terms of this character, but also I like the spirit of it and the way that the central relationship, which is between me and Bojana Novakovic, who's the cop from the NYPD, it's really fascinating because you take away the sort of sexual tension, will they or won't they, and you actually, what that does is it opens up so many other areas to a male-female relationship. So that was, and the kind of snappy screwball, big brother, little sister kind of energy that relationship has developed into. I was really excited about that, and so I was just saying to Michael in the green room, I'm really looking forward to doing it again, actually, because he's such a multifaceted character. He's so many different, had so many different careers and lives that it's actually really, and I keep finding new ones. There was one episode where we were on this farm and there was somebody died in the farm and we come to investigate, and there's a lady just comes up to me and gives me a chicken. She thinks I'm coming to buy a chicken, right? And I just take the chicken and I say, oh, it's a blah, blah, blah kind, very similar to the ones I used to rear in Egypt. I was like, when did this happen? He reared chickens in Egypt at one point as well. So it's actually really great to think your character...
everything in one.
Yeah, and you never know what he's done in his past.
Well, there's an unspoken character in this show, New York City.
Oh,
it's very, right? It's very much a part of the fabric of the show. And Michael, I want to ask you what it's like filming here. Is there anything fun or crazy New York that's happened while you guys were out filming that we should really know about?
Well, first of all, I was born in New York. I've lived here all my life, and there's nowhere else I'd rather shoot. There's nothing that's not fun about shooting in New York. It's just the best place in the world. You're absolutely right. It's a character in the show, and it's very important to Alan and to me for us to be able to shoot here. There's craziness every day, everywhere you shoot. It's much more if you're recognizable and highly decorated like Alan, then you get a lot of attention and you get a lot of fans who want autographs, who want pictures, and Alan's always really kind and he'll take a selfie and make the people happy. And sometimes you get people who are a little annoyed by having to cross the street or the noise, but for the most part, it's a really receptive city. The energy is incredible. The texture is, it's just nothing like it.
And that, for me, it was really great because when I was on The Good Wife, we shot it here, but it was set in Chicago. So we always had to hide New York. We always had to pretend it wasn't. It's like, we'd always have to cut if there's a yellow cab went in the background of a shot or something, and we'd be like, quick, don't, frame out the Empire State Building. Whereas now, every time we go to an apartment to investigate, the Chrysler Building's right outside the window, and it's just a great thing that we're in all these amazing landscapes of New York. And I've actually been to parts of New York, so many new parts that I've never been to just because of...
Have you really?
Yeah, it's been great, actually, especially in Brooklyn and and in Queens, there's areas, because we're on location a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's been really fun for me to kind of discover all these different bits of it.
Yeah, for those of us who are from here, it's really, when you watch it, it's really recognizable. You guys will see in the show as well, when we see it, it's a lot of streets and things that you're, I know that.
There's a good one, there's an episode where there's sort of someone blowing things up, and there's an explosion in Central Park, and we're in Central Park kind of undercover, I'm doing a lot of that. and then all of a sudden an explosion happens over there, and I start running with Bayana, and then the next it cuts, and we're running around the corner in Gramercy Park. So I'm
You're yeah,
I'm a super fast runner as well as everything else.
It's another one of your character's many talents, right? Well, before we get into the actual premiere episode, I want to play a little game with you guys. So let's... I'm going to give you cards, and we'll figure out... I know we got a little tease as to why this is important, but we'll figure out a little bit more about it. You are going to get this card, Alan. And then can you pass this?
Don't look.
I'm going to have you pass this all the way down to the end to Michael, and then Sarah Kate, you're going to have this one. Okay. So we can start with Sarah Kate. Tell me what card you have.
You want me to tell you?
Yes.
Queen of Hearts.
Okay.
Oh, I know what this is about.
So yes, exactly. So we're gonna call this "What's Your Deal?" Okay, and I want you to give me your first instinct answer on the question I'm gonna give you. Okay. So for your Queen of Hearts, it's kind of themed. Each one has their own theme. Mm. There are strong female characters in Instinct. You saw in the trailer, Whoopi Goldberg is part of the show, and then also Bayana, we also talked about, as your co-star. So what do you love, Queen of Hearts, the most about their portrayal on the show?
That they're strong women and that they're diversified as well. I love seeing Whoopi in the show as well.
Yeah. Okay. Michael, this is going to be for you. Tell everyone which card you have.
Two of Hearts.
Two of Hearts. Okay. So this is pretty straightforward. 2 things that you love the most about Instinct. If you don't say Alan, you're going to be in trouble now. You know that.
I would say 2 things I love the most. I love Alan, and I love Alan. No, I mean, I think Alan and Boyana are, it's an incredible crew. The writers are fantastic. The network's been great. The cast is great. But the heart of the show and the fun of the show is definitely Alan and Boyana. Yeah.
Okay. And then, Alan, what do you have?
The Joker.
Okay. You're going to get a double question.
Oh.
Something funny that's happened on set that we should know about, or something that you guys do to lighten the mood.
We dance. We
You
dance
dance.
between takes. There's a guy, one of the cameras, usually about 3 cameras rolling, and they've got little dollies, you know. And this guy, Edgar, who is the camera operator, would have one of those Alexas, or one of those speakers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, I said Alexa at Google yesterday. I did a talk at Google and I said Alexa. They were not happy. So anyway, the speaker like that. And we were just, in between takes, you know, you'd start playing music and then we would start dancing, and then it became a thing, we'd always dance. And then it became a thing like to keep us warm, and when we were filming outside in the winter, people would dance like crazy to keep warm. But then also it was just a lovely thing to do. Like, it made everyone more relaxed and just happier, you know, and you just
fit right
finish
in
a
New
scene.
York
Yeah,
City,
yeah.
right?
And I've seen pictures. I was like, some people posted these like, videos that were in Central Park, and there was the man who was blowing up things, and I kind of tackle him to the ground, and then the shot cut, and then I stand up and I'm just like, and it just became a thing we did, and it was a really great way of making everyone feel, you know, more relaxed and better about coming to work.
I love that. One more thing before we get to the screener.
Yeah.
I saw a while ago yeah, I know, this is going to be a trouble one, on Colbert, that you said that you Google your co-stars naked before you work with them.
Naturally, yes. If I'm going to do sex scenes with them, mostly. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
So has anybody in this cast been naked Googled?
I think definitely naked Googled by Anna, yeah. Yeah.
By the way, he also does it with the writers.
You have writing credit on the first. You didn't Google him, did you?
No, he didn't
tried.
Google me. It was in person. Yeah, that was part of the interview process.
That was the moment you knew. All right, I had to get that one in.
It's true. That's a good thing to do, I think. If you're going to do a sex scene with someone, you might as well see what you're going to get.
It's
first.
research.
It's research. It makes you not so shocked when you actually see it in real life.
Absolutely.
And it was on the internet, you know, you might as well.
Well, with all of that in our minds, let's take a look at the premiere episode, which, by the way, if we haven't mentioned already, is going to be airing on CBS March 18th. That's this Sunday at 8 p.m. So